All right, Guru Nation, thank you so much for watching. This is for the clinical research nerds, the biotech investors out there. You know, I've been talking about 505(b)(2) pathways for a while on my channel. This was one of my favorite companies in recent memory. I've held this company, I've been an investor in this company since probably 2022. The reason I found out about this one was with another biotech called ChemPharm, where the licensing of the sublingual film technology actually came from Aquestive. So I got interested and actually invested in Aquestive because of their Libervant, which was their epilepsy buccal film. And that one is under lawsuit, but it's going to be starting to, the company will start selling it in 2027. But nobody cares about 2027 because the company is rapidly running out of cash. Investors hate when biotechs dilute to raise more cash because it makes the investors more poor temporarily. But everything's hinging on this PDUFA date for Anaphylm, which is the epinephrine sublingual film, for January 31st, 2026. Now, the regulatory pathway has been complicated by the citizens' petition filed by their competitor, ARS, which they manufacture the approved Neffy, which is the epinephrine nasal spray. They've been having a hard time selling it. Clearly, the better product is Anaphylm. I would say by far. It fits on the back of your phone, and you get two strips. One if you need the second dose. We're going to get into the second dose here in a little bit. Most physicians they've surveyed prefer Anaphylm. There's more excitement around Anaphylm. Aquestive has a better sales force than Neffy, in my opinion. But this citizens petition, the FDA has to respond to it. And if the FDA doesn't have time to respond to it by the PDUFA date, they will have no choice but to delay the PDUFA date, which would not be good for the stock. If that happens, I'm still very confident. I know we'll see a dip in the stock price because that's not good news. But I would probably end up buying more, depending on how cheap it gets, because I've been invested in this company since the market cap was like 200 million. And recently, the high of this market cap, after Jim Cramer talked about it on his show, after Jim Cramer had Dan Barber, the CEO of Aquestive, on his show, I think the market cap hit like 900 million, almost a billion. And then it started going down again due to the macroeconomic situation and uncertainty over the last few months. Now, we're supposed to be on a run up to PDUFA, but this citizens petition, damn ARS Pharma is kind of complicating things. But this is a tactic a lot of biotechs can use. I find that it's one that I personally dislike, but any biotech is able to do this. Matter of fact, Aquestive did this in the past with other drugs of theirs. I believe it was for Libervant, which was the epilepsy subbuccal film. So, anyways, Aquestive has presented, in my opinion, and in their own words, the best data, the most robust data ever in the history of research on epinephrine. Like no, there's no company that understands epinephrine and has published more and submitted more data and collected more data on epinephrine than Aquestive. If this thing gets approved, it's gonna do well. They're positioned well, and just be on the lookout for any potential PDUFA delays. Don't panic. After we go through the Oasis study, I hope you see the benefits. And this is probably may go down as one of the best studies, at least in the allergy sector ever. So the clinical efficacy, this is a 505(b)(2) pathway. And in those 505(b)(2) pathways, this is what it was. The NDA was submitted under that pathway, which needs PK, pharmacokinetic, and pharmacodynamic comparability data to the established intramuscular epinephrine formulations. And now, underneath this video, you will have the link to the Oasis slide deck with the results from this OASIS study. Their regulatory strategy relied on this 505(b)(2) pathway, which the FDA came up with this pathway, I believe, a few decades ago in order to incentivize more um, use cases for generics that can be reformulated and repurposed for other indications. So they're incentivizing more research into other indications when we already have safety data on the particular generic, which in this case is epinephrine. So this pathway permits the sponsor to reference the FDA's existing safety and efficacy for the auto-injectors and the intramuscular injections. And this, what they have to do, what AQST have had to do, is mandate a demonstration of PK, PD comparability. So that's pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics, what the body does to the drug and what the drug does to the body. Now, the FDA is going to also look at improvements. Why is this better than EpiPen? Well, the major issue with EpiPen is compliance or lack thereof. Most people leave their home. If they forget their EpiPen, they're not going to go back for it. Most people overestimate, hey, I'm just gonna, I don't have my EpiPen on me, but it's kind of hard to do that out in the wild. You go in the restaurant, you go to someone's house, someone's eating peanuts, someone's eating something else you're allergic to. I know somebody that works for me, she's allergic to bell peppers. I told her about this. She's amazed by this. Um, she can't wait till it gets approved. There's a lot of people like her out there because they don't carry their EpiPen. It's clunky. So as long as they showed, in my opinion, it's not financial advice either. Now, the OASIS study was a strategically vital component of Anaphylm, and this study enrolled 36 patients. Was strategically vital component because they watched what happened with Neffy. And the FDA told Neffy, we didn't simulate real world. Neffy didn't simulate real world with the nasal side effects of having an allergic response, like mucus. In the case of Anaphylm, because it's not a spray, it's a sublingual film. They wanted the oral allergen challenge study in the real world. So they got, I believe it was 36 adults with oral allergy syndrome. I believe it was fruit allergies. And they involved 18 of them got a single dose, 18 of them got a repeat dose, and then they had a 2-week washout period. And subjects received treatment in 3 arms of this study. Anaphylm with allergen exposure, so they exposed them to known fruits that those people were allergic to. Anaphylm without allergen exposure and adrenaline, so IM injection without allergen. Now, why did they do Anaphylm with and without allergen exposure? They wanted to see if the body, so the PK absorbs and reaches the same Cmax and Tmax despite oral allergen exposure. So despite swelling in the cheeks, can the drug still go through and bypass all of that allergen exposure? And then why did they do the IM injection without allergen? Because they already have safety data on it. It would be unnecessary to put more subjects in front of allergens when they don't have to. They already have the data. So they wanted to see the key rationale was to evaluate the PK, PD under allergen-induced oral physiological change. Volunteers were exposed to known allergenic fruits, so pineapple, apple, kiwi, cherry, until their symptom score reached moderate to severe. This was a self-reported score, but it's the standard that they use in this in that particular therapeutic indication. And following the challenge, 100% of the subjects exhibited oral symptoms. 81% reported more than 2 symptoms of allergic response, and specific mucosal changes included swelling in 25% of the subjects, lip swelling, throat swelling. This is one of the best studies ever designed on oral allergens. Or allergy in general. Anaphylm administration was 100% successful in all of these cases, despite these oral real-world changes. And the Cmax for Anaphylm with the allergen was 403. Without the allergen was 372. So matter of fact, it actually absorbed more with the allergen than the Cmax for the manual injection was 261. Now the median time, the minutes, the Tmax for the intramuscular injection was 50 minutes. And for Anaphylm with or without allergen was 12 minutes for Tmax. And what is Tmax again? Tmax is the time it takes for a drug to reach the Cmax, maximum concentration. So with or without allergens, Anaphylm reached Tmax in 12 minutes. Now, the area under the curve, the geometric mean. What does this mean? Let me explain the area under the curve a little bit. Another way to look at the area under the curve is the Cmax and the Tmax together compared with the established standard of care. So what is the clinical efficacy of this? So beyond looking at the PK consistency, the OASIS study provided valuable efficacy and safety data. Administration of Anaphylm resulted in rapid symptom relief starting as early as 2 minutes, and the median time to complete symptom resolution was 12 minutes. Regarding safety, the study confirmed favorable tolerability profile in both single dose and repeat arms with and without allergen challenge. No serious SAEs were observed. All reported treatment emergent adverse events were categorized as mild and were transient. Importantly, in the single dose arm, now regarding safety, there was no SAEs and any adverse events that were treatment emergent were mild, were grade 1 mild. So there was also in the single dose arm no emesis or vomiting. In the repeat dose arm, one subject reported mild vomiting. The most common cardiovascular adverse event was mild palpitation. Now, the pharmacodynamics characteristics, and this is where Anaphylm's a little bit different. The pharmacodynamic markers are heart rate, systolic blood pressure, and diastolic blood pressure. They all showed rapid increases within 2 minutes of administration. You want heart rate and blood pressure to go up. The most unique finding from this entire study was on the diastolic blood pressure, and this is the part where the citizens petition latched onto. Now, AQST, when you have an administration of epinephrine, even if it's the injectable, you want a slight increase in heart rate, systolic, and then you'll get a decrease in diastolic. AQST Anaphylm showed an increase in all, and just greater than or equal to 5 points from the 2 to 60-minute post-dose. And they claim this is a clinically favorable effect. They say it could be interpreted as improved maintenance of the vascular tone, which is essential in counteracting the massive vasodilation characteristic of anaphylactic shock. When someone has anaphylactic shock, blood vessels they vasodilate, so they constrict, so that people can't breathe. That's why blood pressure goes down, heart rate goes down. They could get into anaphylactic shock. This increases all of it. Now, the citizens petition from the competitor says, well, yeah, but we didn't test this on people with heart conditions. Well, if you have a heart condition, you're still going to need to take something or you're going to have anaphylactic shock. So it's risk reward. I think the FDA has to look at this, which is why I think they're going to have, if they don't dismiss it before the PDUFA date, they're going to have to extend the PDUFA date, unfortunately. But that's the way it goes in this industry. So when you compare it to Neffy, even though they didn't do a direct head-to-head comparison, if you look at the results, from Neffy's studies, you'll see that Anaphylm presents the best attributes of both traditional and novel delivery systems. The median Tmax of 10 minutes offers a speed advantage over autoinjectors and is highly competitive with Neffy's rapid onset of 16 minutes. So Anaphylm is 10 to 12 minutes Tmax, autoinjectors 20 to 30, Neffy 16. And then Anaphylm Cmax was Anaphylm Cmax equivalence to autoinjectors. It's even closer correlated with PK certainty compared to Neffy, which achieves Cmax equivalence, like I said, 258, the geometric mean Cmax. The citizens petition raised 3 points that I think are the most important. They said impaired absorption due to swelling and usability concerns. So all the stuff I discussed about the OASIS study, the citizens petition alleges that the current evidence does not adequately demonstrate efficacy because how do we know patients can maintain the sublingual film for long enough to ensure absorption during an anaphylactic event, which involves swelling of the mouth and throat? Even though the OASIS study neutralized this argument, the OASIS study demonstrated that Anaphylm's PK/PD profiles were robust and not impacted by oral swelling, but the citizens petition raises additional real-world concerns regarding vomiting because only one patient vomited, and that was until the second dose. So they're really like grasping at straws, but that's what they have to do. The safety data from the Oasis repeat dose arm noted a single instance of mild vomiting. So they're saying, well, what happens with when more people vomit? Their second point, concerns over the high dosing exposure. So the higher dosing, the argument attempts to leverage the fact that the film contains 12 milligrams of epinephrine, which is a prodrug. However, the foundational principle of the NDA is that 470 Cmax, 470 of the epinephrine Cmax produced by the 12 milligram prodrug is bracketed by the Cmax value of the established autoinjectors, as we saw earlier. This successful PK bracketing provides the proof that the systemic epinephrine exposure is within the known therapeutic window. And finally, the diastolic blood pressure spike and the prodrug metabolism. The citizens petition is saying, well, the novel metabolites that are the intermediary of the prodrug that converts the Anaphylm into epinephrine in the blood. This needs to be looked at. I think this is a last-ditch attempt by a competitor to stall. I think the approval is not priced into the price. I think a delay is not priced into the price. I think we're gonna not see much price action until we see something about a response to this petition from the FDA or a extension of the PDUFA date by a quarter. So that's the worst case. The stock will take a hit if it's in one of these negative outcomes. But if it's a positive outcome, I think you can expect around a 1.2 to 1.5 billion dollar market cap. And right now the stock is at a $700 million market cap, more or less. So the likelihood of the approval, in my opinion, is high. The non-requirement of an advisory committee signals the FDA confidence in the data package. The program was well executed. You should look underneath my video for the link to the slides. The citizens petition has a few points, but really all it can do is push this into the second quarter of 2026. And the primary investment decision still rests on managing this potential delay rather than predicting an outright complete response letter, which I see as not very probable in my opinion. That's it. Let me know what you think about this. Probably one of the best studies ever in the allergy space, and a product, quite frankly, that's needed in the market, Anaphylm. This is why I'm a proud investor of this company, and I'm holding through the PDUFA, even though I've trimmed some profits because I never want to be 100% allocated into one position. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Catch y'all later. Bye bye.